Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the secrets of rapport, the difference between wide rapport and deep rapport, and why that's important to you, and also some of the mistakes that people make when they're trying to do rapport, right? Well, first of all, when you talk about rapport, again, rapport is the idea that really all people prefer others resembling them. We like people who are like us. And that's one of the keys to rapport. And of course, in a basic NLP course, we talk about physical rapport, mirroring and matching and doing that. And we talk about, matching the language, the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. Now, this is becoming more and more well known in the therapeutic community, the hypnosis community, of course, in the sales community. But really, one of the things that happens is people make the mistake when they start getting in rapport, they don't put themselves into a feeling of rapport before they get started. So the first mistake that people make is act like this is irrational or not normal. The easiest way to do this is when you're meeting someone, and if you want to speed up the rapport process, is you think about a person that you have deep rapport with on yourself, that you really like and you like being around. And you think about that person, and then you're entering into that state yourself. When you're into that state, then getting into rapport with the other person is more natural because that person is going to mirror and match your energy and some of the subconscious things. The other thing that usually happens is people, when they start this, they don't have a true curiosity about the person that they're talking to. They're faking it. Right? You got to look at each person as a unique, special creation of God, and that, wow, this is so cool. Because when you have that attitude, then that also opens you up to being in better rapport with that person. The other thing that people mistake when they start doing this is they don't have a target in mind. I mean, what's the purpose of this rapport? Is it just about gathering information, having some fun? If it's a social setting, there may be no ulterior motives. Sometimes it's just that simple thing. The other thing that happens with this is that people try too hard. They act like they got to force it. Sometimes rapport is not going to happen. Just take it as information. Again, curious, wonder why that didn't happen. And for this to happen, as I'm going to talk about next time, about what questions do you ask yourself to put you in that situation, right? When I get ready, if I'm going to use rapport, I have to ask myself, how can I make this memorable and fun for both of us? And then it opens me up. So, then it's just going to be a fun thing. The other thing is sometimes people mistake they develop the wrong role, if they will. What role are you playing? You're a problem, we want to jump into problem solver or maybe a sales process when in fact, really, it's just fun. It's just fun talking to other people. If you have that basis, even if your target is information for sales or marketing or therapeutic, whatever it happens to be, you have to have the right role, and that is of a helper. You're there to help them. You have a unique skill set. With NLP, you have a skill set very few people have. So if you have that attitude, you're really going to have fun. And then I want to talk a little bit just about the difference between wide rapport and deep rapport. When you first meet someone and you're mirroring and matching their physiology and you're doing what they're doing, and then if you add a little bit of matching their language, their visual, their auditory, their kinesthetic, and you're kind of talking on the superficial level, that's wide rapport, right? This is very good for most social interactions or when you're first meeting a client or a customer. You don't need to get into deep rapport. Now, deep rapport is where you go one level beneath that and you start talking about values and beliefs. You start talking about those feelings and things like passion. Now, if you're going to do that, that's wonderful. And if you're going to elicit those feelings and those emotions in people, that's great. The thing you have to watch is entering into it too much yourself. You're the programmer. You're not being programmed at this moment. So you want to use this carefully because sometimes deep rapport can backfire on you. You develop it in the therapeutic community. We call it countertransference, where you're putting your stuff onto that target, right? Where if you're asking the right questions, that person can elicit those states of passion or emotion or feeling, and they can link it to you, which is fine, as we talked about last time with the Bill Clinton technique. But you want to use it carefully. Many times, wide rapport is really all that you need for most situations. And then you're going to get specific information to go into deep rapport on specific information. And of course, really deep rapport is when you have a shared experience, right? When you get people that have survived something together, you get into really deep rapport. It's what you see in the 12-step community. It's what I see in the veterans community. It's what you see in, like in certain communities. You have a shared experience, whatever that happens to be. My wife has it when she's with the circus people, or we're out horseback riding with other horseback people. You know, that's a shared thing. That's a different level of rapport. It's a deeper level of rapport. But you can have deep level of rapport. This is something many people miss. You can have deep level of rapport at one level because maybe you have a shared passion, a shared experience. It does not mean you're going to have rapport across the board. I usually talk about the experience of we were scuba diving. We were on a cruise, not a cruise ship. It was actually a scuba diving trip. Big 75-foot sailboat. And the only thing you did on the boat was dive, eat, and drink. That was it. And so it was for a dive club, so everybody there knew each other. We had deep rapport when it comes to scuba diving. And I figured, well, you know, we'd been on all these dive trips, but we hadn't really been on anything like this where there's no place to escape to. You're only on this sailboat, right? So anyway, I figured a couple of days, and then rapport would start being broken. And that's what happened because we had deep rapport in the scuba diving world. We had shared language. We had shared experiences. We'd come up from a dive. Oh, wasn't that beautiful? Did you see the shark? Did you see the octopus? It was great, right? The stingrays, whatever we happened to be doing. It was wonderful. But what begins to happen, especially in the evening, we started to add different things. You know, people be talking after dinner, maybe having a drink. And then you go into other areas. So you lose that one level of deep rapport here, which was fine for what we were doing. And then people start talking about things like, that's why they always say, don't talk religion, politics, you know, how you raise kids, because then the rapport falls apart. So as people that know this, we can use this. There's times we want to get that deep rapport. When I'm talking to a person about addictions, I can share my experience, my strength, my hope, as they would say, and we can develop deep rapport at that. The other things don't matter, right? At that level, right? When I had my weight loss clinic, I could talk about, I know what it's like to have to lay on the bed, take a deep breath, suck in real hard to buckle my pants before I went out that evening, right? That's a deep level of rapport. People could relate to that. Great. But the other things are, can become counterproductive. So we want to know where we want to do with this rapport. Again, we want to just be curious and have fun. You need a target in mind. What do you want with this rapport? And remember that you lead, not follow, right? You're the one that has control of the situation. So anyway, just have fun with this and begin to think a little bit more about the difference between deep and wide rapport, and some of the mistakes that people make, right? Trying too hard, not being curious, playing the wrong role, and things like that. So have fun with this, and I look forward to talking to you next time.